yards or so that comes down.
That's the discussion that we're
Yeah.
having, and it gets murky
Yeah.
quickly, and.
Some people are
and we
same
don't-
ones
we don't-
every time.
Yeah, and we don't know what the legal vehicle is to accomplish that task, but that's what the discussion is how
How about Jim's legal vehicle of some of the real washed out driveways, when they come back and they get a permit to fix it, because it is a town property, now they're coming back in to get, they're coming in for a permit, they should be coming in for a permit to fix it, okay, for you. Now you have being in charge of all that, say, first 10 feet's paved. Fix it the way it's supposed to be. You're back in here recreating. Yeah, you know what I mean, there's different angles that you.
Yeah, and I also think going in 10 feet isn't gonna.
I got a copy of the report.
It's just gonna just still wash out into the road.
It's still gonna wash, but it's a beginning of it.
All right, so and like you said, you're not gonna do it in one fell swoop, it's gonna be, you're gonna have to do.
No idea. Yeah, Lance and I went up to the northern property to see if
And you
maybe
have to
they
make sure
could
you pick the right.
figure something out. That's not gonna happen either. I guess they tried to, as that
Get to the
property
right
owner said,
outcome on the first
trick
one,
him
then you
into
set a
an
precedent.
easement a few years
Yeah,
back.
that's the first one.
And he's not interested, but his whole lower yard is just like
I think
a
it's
swamp
at some
anyway,
point,
so.
but I didn't know where you had to
Even
go.
that would be a major
I think you gotta go
undertaking,
to
so
zoning.
I don't know what's
We
going on
don't know,
with those guys.
and that's been our discussion is what is the vehicle?
Because the vehicle.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But, you know, I'm glad we had that extended chat.
100 foot from the wetland.
Right, I think
Well, when I send the invoices out tomorrow, I'll send the invoice for that.
some of them are with.
Yeah.
Lance will have to find a way.
Send that one right to Lance.
But that's not the.
We're all going to Lance.
Exactly.
How you doing, Jackie? Good, good.
Hi, Tom.
Jim, thanks for coming.
I didn't have a chance to get back
That's
to
quite
it,
all
so
right.
it's been a little busy.
Good, how are you?
Oh, not the driveway, I'm talking about the private road.
How you doing, Frank?
Good. Talking about the private road, you're paving, that's all different walls.
Josh is taking minutes tonight from home, so I made extra sure that this thing was running and it better not crap out on us. So, yeah, these minutes have been,
Gotta maintain it.
we need to hire a stenographer
Well, I know,
in the town.
I go to TD Bank in Naples, manage it. I just wanted to get this back to East West.
Oh, okay. You just pop it away now, so.
Some negotiation.
That's all right.
Right.
Gary?
Not much, how about yourself?
Good, good. How's Bev doing?
On their own right now. Yeah, you know.
Crazy, isn't it?
Tired and frustrated, they can't get in, get it right.
What's that?
Always something.
You know what? For sure, always something. Hey, Jeff?
Yes.
We have a new member. I received an email from Terry Hall, and I responded back that I hope he's sworn in would be available, so.
I don't believe the Board of Selectmen took that up at the last meeting, so if he comes tonight, he'll have to just watch from
Okay.
the crowd.
Okay.
A young guy, I forget the name.
You know what? It's like, why not? It's like a week and a half that he could have been sworn in.
Yeah,
All he had to do was show up.
It is on, yeah, as a discussion point. That's the end.
I did.
Why did you want?
Well, just in case they wanted
It's on my email. What do I do?
Oh, okay.
It's something.
Yeah, it might be fresh for these guys, so, I mean, it's up to you. If you want this, like, I wouldn't require it, don't even worry about it. Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Jeff, These are different than what we originally have in our package?
So the amended agenda you got today, you should have also got an amended staff report.
That's, it's different?
Yes, yes it is. I added to match the agenda.
Oh, so there's, you added one item?
Two, I believe. Did you want fresh copies
No,
of the
I
report?
haven't.
Oh, okay.
No, I haven't, I just, you know, I just went through your, and why the minutes are here is different? Okay, so Finn is here. Jeff, from your knowledge, other than Finn, everything else on the original agenda stayed the same?
Everything else is still on there. I also added back the determination section. That was a formatting error on my part in the first place. So the only item
I
there
got it, okay.
is 352 West Wakefield.
Okay, just bring it to my attention because I have notes
I
on
will.
my agenda.
Yep.
And I don't want to go back and forth and miss my notes.
I got you.
Thank you.
Much paper.
You'll know what to do with this?
No,
No? Okay.
never handled it before.
All right. I'm gonna leave it up here.
It's above my pay scale.
Gotcha.
I didn't even see your microphone.
Where'd Jim go?
You hear a pin drop.
Should wait till 7 o'clock. Ladies and gentlemen, we're not waiting for anybody else. We have a quorum, I don't expect anybody else, but I'm just waiting for 7 o'clock to officially start.
Hi, everybody. I'm the new chair, or
Oh.
the new board member.
Oh, thank you. Your name?
Mason.
Mason. Hi, Steve Molinelli.
Good to meet you.
Okay, were you properly sworn in?
Yes,
Okay.
earlier, or last week.
Okay.
Okay.
So you'll be able to participate in the meeting on any new business, but anything that's old business, I'll ask you to simply abstain.
Sure.
Because you weren't part of earlier conversations?
Of course.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
And then we'll talk afterwards.
Good to meet you.
Mason, just make it a point to touch base with Jeff so that our secretary puts you in the box as a committee member.
Gotcha.
Because you're not listed on the original agenda
Yeah.
or the revised agenda.
Okay, definitely.
Okay.
We'll make sure to. Sorry.
Oh, that's not your fault.
Force a habit.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's 7 PM. I'd like to call the Inland Wetlands Watercourse Commission to order. First order of business is attendance. My name is Stephen Molinelli, Chair, present. Russ Davenport is absent and informed. Jackie Mulvey,
Present.
Jeff Lippincott,
Present.
Frank Oliveri,
Present.
Gary Paganelli,
Present.
and we have a new member, Mason, your last name?
Kieswetter.
Keebler is present for tonight's meeting. I'll ask for approval of our minutes from June 21st, 2023.
Do we ever approve the minutes from?
May, we didn't, no, but this is on the agenda, so. Do we have a motion for approval?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the June meeting.
Second.
June 21st, 2023. Any changes, anything noted? Second by Jackie. All those in favor of approval of the June 21st minutes? All right, it's unanimous with one abstention. Next order of business, we never approved the May 17th minutes. So I'd like Jeff to please follow up on that.
Yeah, I made a note already.
Okay, thank you very much. Under agenda review, I just have two items that I'd like to shuffle around. One, it's an item listed under communication, but it's really an application for 212 West Wakefield Boulevard, and we have the representative from the town, the engineers, here tonight, so I'd like to bring him forward before the rest of the meeting. And I also invited Jim Rollins from Public Works to be part of the meeting, and I saw him when I came in. He's not here now, but I'd like to bring him forward before we get into the business of the meetings. So first order of business under agenda review would be Tom Grimaldi, who will give us a report on 212 West Wakefield Boulevard. Tom, please.
Good evening, Tom Grimaldi, consulting town engineer. I think we're at a portion where we wrapped up this site for, as far as my consulting services. The lake bed was cleaned up, the perimeter erosion controls were relocated up to the lower retaining wall. The coffer dam was, the pumps were removed, the piping, the silt bag, water started to come in, and eventually the coffer dam was removed last week, and a turbidity curtain was brought in. You'll notice in the report that after the heavy rain, we had some pretty turbid water and debris behind the turbidity curtain. And then you'll also notice as you get a little farther in the photographs that I had, that the water cleared up really, really nicely within just a few days. So we're really pleased with that. The only thing outstanding that I recommended to the builder, Jeff Brandini, was that the area between the lower and the upper retaining wall, that's gonna be grass. I asked him if he would be willing to install turf sod in that area, so that once that's graded, it can be stabilized, we don't have to worry about seeding and hay mats and all this stuff, that eventually stuff could wash into the lake. So he agreed. I talked to him today, and he said he'd be happy to do that. So if Jeff's gonna take over from here, that's the only thing that would be outstanding. I'd like to see that completed when they get to that point. All the sandbags are removed from the lake itself. They're still using the sandbags on the retaining walls to hold back some construction materials. And there was some on the retaining wall of the neighbor. I'm pretty sure they're taking those down if they're not already down. Last time I was there was Friday of last week, so when I took the last few photographs.
One of the conversations that we had was, you had talked about why the lake had gotten cloudy or misty behind the turbidity curtain.
Right.
And you talked about sewer runoff or street runoff.
Yeah, so there was a culvert that, I wasn't there when they first installed the turbidity, the coffer dam. But I guess there was I'm not sure who it was, or if it was this body or not, but what I was told by the contractor, the site contractor, Frank Lasky, was that they normally cut the cofferdam around the culvert and they glue it, but there was some aversion to using the glue on the actual concrete retaining wall. So instead of that, the cofferdam went around the culvert, so that as the water came from across the street, it actually discharged behind the cofferdam. So when we had that large storm event that Monday, Sunday, Monday, that water from behind, from across the street, there was a tremendous amount of runoff from all over the lake. But some debris and sediment came across through that culvert and clouded up the water. So the pumps had been shut down, the lake bed was dry, as you can see from the photographs. And then, as the water started to fill up, then we had the storm, and by the time the storm came, the water was already up pretty high, and it brought in a lot of that turbidity with it and debris.
Which culvert was it?
It's the one, as you're looking at the property, the lake property, it's to the left of the site.
Closer to a town?
Yes, and it goes through, you'll see it on the last couple of photographs. It actually goes through the retaining wall. You'll see it in this photo. It goes through the retaining wall. That's the one where normally they'll take and glue around it and cut the tarp for the porta-dam. But according to the contractor, that somebody didn't want that glue in the lake, so it wasn't done.
Anybody with any
It was a
questions?
bit unfortunate. In the future, if this ever happens again, I would recommend cutting around that, letting that water discharge.
You know what, I don't recall that being a
Issue.
conversation point
Conversation, right?
Yeah.
back when, where
So
we as a-
maybe it was a staff person? I'm not quite sure.
Again, I just don't recall that being part of the presentation
About the
that we had to consider. And
Culvert.
apparently, it wasn't.
We
So,
never discussed that.
yeah,
So
so,
they didn't use the glue, and that was discharged behind the cofferdam.
It would have had the same effect either way. It would have gone into the lake.
Yeah,
or the
and you know
cofferdam was
what,
there
to
or
be
not.
quite honest with you, it worked out perfect because we were actually containing that water and it was behind a turbidity curtain.
Let it settle.
But I know there was some people around the lake that were very concerned about that turbid water and were concerned that maybe we should de-water the whole thing again. So that would have been a bigger mess. I felt it was best to leave it alone, and as you can see by the
it
last
resolved,
few
it resolved
photographs,
itself.
it's really clean, yeah. Cleaned up itself.
Okay, Jeff, any concerns from Tom?
No, I think Tom's done a great job. The project is moving along nicely. It's nice to have the dam out now.
Anybody else on the committee? Any questions or any concerns? Tom, you and I have worked closely, more closely than normally I would be involved with this project or any project. And you were always available to us. You answered our questions. You spent time on site. I think you applied your knowledge and expertise to the application and what we granted the applicant to be able to do. And you just made certain that it was done according to what we gave them permission to do. So I thank you for your services. Hopefully, we'll look forward to working with you again. I think
Yeah,
there's
it worked out great, and obviously can't take all the credit.
Everybody.
Tom worked with me, and the contractors, especially the site contractor, Frank Lasky, he worked closely with me on anything that I wanted, it was done.
good.
So, that worked out great. Last thing I just wanted to bring up, I know it's not on this topic, but I'm gonna bring it up because I was there, and I don't know if Jim's in the house, but I went out to that, what was it, 265?
265.
We have it on our agenda down the
Yeah, so
road.
we went out and, just so I can give you my input, because I won't be here when that comes up.
Just for purposes of the audience, 265 and 265.5,
Correct.
Colebrook
Colebrook Road, yep.
in front of, on the street, there's a driveway that you would make a turn into, and the driveway went over a brook, which apparently had piping under it and was filled in, so that anybody visiting the home in there could make a left or a right onto the driveway and go to the houses of where they wanted to go. long and short of it, that whole driveway from the street level to the brook level was completely washed out. So these people had no access to get in and out of their house from the street by car, to my knowledge. So now go ahead, Tom.
Well, I was called by Jeff and Lance, so went out to take a look at it with Jim. We had the fire marshal there, the fire chief, the building official. It was pretty much everybody. But this is the second time it washed out, and they did a temporary fix. So initially, we were looking at this as a temporary fix, and then after much conversation and discerning through different people and what the concerns were, and knowing that there's a 11-foot wide by 5-foot high box culvert directly upstream, my recommendation was not to approve a temporary culvert crossing, only because it's gonna cost them tens of thousands of dollars, and then they're not gonna wanna do a permanent crossing, and it happened once before. So the recommendation was to hire a consulting engineer. The owners would have to do that, do a hydrologic analysis, and design what will most likely be a box culvert there, I would imagine.
So Tom, the 3 pipes that are there, 1 large one and 2 small ones, is that what washed out?
Yes, I know a section of that 60-inch pipe washed out. And I'm not sure if the 24s were in there or not
They're
before.
up in the
So they were able to rescue the larger pipe and pull it back on site. The
There's
hope,
2 small ones too.
the hope originally was to reuse that. The 2 small ones were new, brought to site. They lost the smaller ones
So they had a
in the storm.
smaller one or two.
Maybe it's a premature question, but when it comes
The
before us,
cars are on the other side.
Yeah.
Is there any other way to get out of there?
No, we've looked at both the northern property and the southern property, and there's just a lot of impediments to trying to provide any other sort of temporary access. It's really unfortunate for them, but the fact that they've done the temporary fix once and now it's washed out, they're more receptive to a permanent fix.
how, in the interim, how did they get from the road to their house?
Last I heard, one of the ladies on site has not left the property since. The 2 gentlemen are walking through the state forest and crossing a bridge at the southern property so they can get out to work. But that's the last report I had.
All right.
The cars are on the other side.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw it. You know.
Yeah, cars are on the other side.
I
I know the building
will-
official asked them to vacate the premises because of emergency.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jim isn't in the room. He was here earlier to contribute, but thanks for your input on
I just
that.
wanted to give you that update
Yeah.
from my perspective of it, so.
Yeah.
Great, thank you very much.
All right, anything else before Tom leaves? All right, Tom, have a
Pleasure
good night.
working with you all.
Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you.
Good night. Is Jim Rollins present that I don't see? Okay. First order of business, we have no public hearings. And under old business, we have an application 23-9. The applicant is James Pagano, 840 East Wakefield Boulevard, to repair existing concrete retaining wall. Mr. or Mrs. Pagano here? Want to come forward, please? For the record, state your name.
James Pagano, 840 East Wakefield Boulevard, Winston, 009.
Okay, Mr. Pagano presented to us last month, and we accepted his application. I think he provided us with a pretty detailed engineer's report and the scope of what he'd like to do and what he wanted to accomplish. Anybody have any concerns about it, anything, any afterthoughts?
I've had visits from Jeff, yourself, Gary, I think Frank was
Yes,
there as
yes.
well. So I hope I answered all your questions. And you understand the issue,
Yes.
so.
All right, I'm glad you indicated that, 4 of the present members visited your site
You're welcome to
and,
anytime.
sort of lived what you're talking about. Any concerns as a result of the visit?
Needs to get done.
Get the soon as possible. Safety,
Yeah.
it's more of a safety
Okay.
issue than anything.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve IWWC 23-9. What are we thinking about a bond?
Couple of $1,000?
Yeah, it's all behind the wall, so that's
Well, it's behind the wall, but that wall is, they're gonna tie into the wall to pull it back. $2,000 reasonable, Frank? Jackie, good?
$2,000 bond.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor of accepting this approving this application, raise your hands. All right, it's 5 and 1 abstention. Mason is the abstention for the records. Thank you. Just before you begin, come in, meet with Jeff and our secretary.
Jim Rollins also wanted to be, he's not here.
Oh,
but
okay.
We've had discussions.
Yeah.
They have, the culvert comes right underneath my deck, and that's right next to where it is, so he wants to be in part of the, plan to get a contractor in, of course.
Okay.
I haven't gone to any contractors until I got your guys' approval, so I'll start that process now.
Okay, and just post your bond. Let Jeff know when you're ready to begin.
Yes.
And,
It'll be when we get drawdown, that'll be the easiest way to do this work anyway. Otherwise,
Okay.
we got pumps, and nobody wants to worry about pumps and where that effluent is going, and et cetera. So we wanna wait till, we have a 4-foot drawdown this October, November, that's when we're gonna go for it.
Okay, very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Next order of business is Tony Talinsky, 816 East Wakefield Boulevard, the permit to install a 10-by-10 boat lift next to an existing dock. Want to come forward, sir? For the record, please state your name or names.
And Pamela Talinsky.
Into the, there's a microphone there, so,
Tony Talinsky and Pamela Talinsky.
okay, thank you. You weren't present last month.
No, I didn't know the process, so I didn't even know I had to be, so.
Okay, the process was that when you present an application, the first time it comes before us, we will ask you questions and then accept your application, but as a result of the questioning back and forth, we'll have a better idea of what your project entails. So we're at that stage now.
Great.
So you want to please explain what you wanted to do?
So, yeah, it's just we want to put in a boat lift next to our existing dock so that we can more safely, we live out of state and we want to be able to safely leave the boat in the water. You know, like with the storms we just had and stuff, we were afraid of leaving it tied up to the dock like we used to do.
Okay. Any questions on the part of the commission?
I looked at it today, and there's plenty, it looks like there's plenty of room by the littoral border, past the littoral border, so that would be the only sticking point.
You have 50 feet of frontage?
I believe so, yeah.
I see 50 on your application. You said 50 or 60?
Yeah.
I said 50.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at your application. I see not an issue of concern other than I think it's a measurement issue.
Yeah, that was all done from Vermont, just based on,
Oh.
you know, what I knew.
Okay.
I wasn't here to do that.
Just for the records then, what I'm referring to is on the application, under the last page called Beautiful Lake,
Yeah,
the gentleman indicated that there's a 15-foot littoral boundary area between the property line and the side of the boat lift adjacent to that property line.
that's correct.
And I measured it today with the help of one of your neighbors.
Right.
And it's about 10 and a half feet.
Right.
So just for the records.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
when you, even though it's after the fact, you're gonna pull your boat lift possibly out next year, and the
Yeah.
dock may come out next year.
Yeah.
We wanna be certain that when you put it back, you stay outside of that 10-foot line where it presently is, or at least there. So I'm gonna make that change just for the record.
And you'll see on the beginning of the application, I did put minimum of 10 feet.
Right, but again, just for record-keeping purposes and down the road purposes or whatever.
Absolutely.
Is there any other concern? Anybody? All right, is there a motion?
I make a motion to approve application number, I can't find the number. Oh, IWWC 23-8 to, permit to install 10-by-10 boat lift next to an existing dock.
Is there a second?
You wanna put in that change.
Yeah, just for the record, Jackie, read in that change on the application.
With the change on the drawing of the application.
So this would be
It will
10
be 10 feet to the littoral boundary on the left, and it's also 10 feet, and did you measure the other side too?
Well, the other side, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
No, that's fine.
Oh, because they're, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
There a second? Second, just for the record, before we vote, it should be noted that the boat lift is already in the water and in place. So the gentleman indicated he didn't know the procedure. I'm glad you came in and applied for a permit. It just sort of cleans everything up on your waterfront. So thank you for that. We have a vote on this motion. All those in favor of approval? It's everybody except for Mason again, so it's unanimous for the 5 of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay? Under new business, application 23-2-1, the applicant is Maureen Pisano at 140 East Wakefield Boulevard. And the applicant is asking for either a 30 or 40-foot by 4-foot dock with a boat lift. Hi, Maureen.
How are you?
Introduce yourself, please.
I'm Maureen Pisano, 148 East Wakefield Boulevard. I'm asking you to accept my application tonight for a new dock. We have an existing boat lift. I'd like that to be permitted also. I did have a survey done. I had my littoral boundary survey done. The issue was I'd like to shift it over a little bit, so my son can put his jet skis to the west of our property, without interfering on either of my neighbor's boundaries. And I know you were there today, everybody was there today.
I was there, tried yesterday, but it rained like hell.
So, I mean, you do have some papers, but we talked about the last meeting to try to shift the boat lift to the opposite side, but we really would like to keep the boat lift on the side where it's at for the wheel. Well, to get the boat lift to be opposite, wheeling it up. We're asking for a 40-foot dock, which is the max, but we'd be happy with a 30-foot dock if that's what it came down to.
How big is the one there now?
What, I know,
Maybe 24
I think we
feet.
have it
yeah,
here.
it's about, yeah.
The sections, I don't believe, are 10-foot
Okay,
sections.
all right, I think they're bigger than that, don't you think so? I think the first one is. Okay, all right, I'm
This says
sorry,
thirty- this
we
says
should have
30
measured it, I'm sorry, yeah.
This says 30 feet.
Just for informational purposes, because we're going to accept your application. Because you are asking to be positioned in the littoral boundary.
Correct.
The procedure by code for us is that we're going to have to establish a public hearing for next month.
Which I totally understand.
But again, from informational purposes,
Yep.
in talking to a gentleman in the area regarding boat lifts and things of that sort, it is not impossible, nor difficult, nor costly if you chose to move your apparatus to lift your boat out of the water to the other side of the boat lift.
Okay,
So that would be a consideration that you would have to make
okay,
prior to next month when you sit before us, and you're more specific as to where you want to put your boat, and dock, and lift.
okay.
Okay? In looking at what the information you provided us
Right.
in our packet for this new application, today you indicated to me there are aspects of it that you're not going to ask for, and you have more documentation to
Yes,
give us.
yes.
So would you like to distribute that now?
I don't have 9 copies, but I have 1 copy, but I will have a copy for the public hearing.
Would you give Jeff the copy?
Yeah.
Is that your only copy?
No.
Okay.
I just brought it tonight because you had asked me to bring it. so.
Okay, so give it to Jeff.
Do you want me to make copies now?
Can you?
or-
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Would you mind?
I'll do it.
Okay. Thank you, Jeff.
What it is, it's just, these were, one was with the 40-foot, and one was with the 30-foot, and it's keeping the boat lift on the side which we had talked about. This is what tonight, so we'll see what happens.
So
Right,
is
so
that
then-
different than what we have here in our
Yes,
packet?
it is. This,
okay.
these just came in,
Okay.
So what you're saying, what Jeff is gonna run off and distribute to us,
yes.
we're gonna add it to our package?
Yes,
And you're asking us to consider or disregard,
I'm gonna say disregard the one that's there now.
there's
and
3 or 4
There's
things?
4 of them, there's 4 new ones, yes.
Okay, so we're gonna disregard
Yeah,
that.
and that's, yeah, I'm sorry.
That's all right, at least,
It just came, you know, the surveyor, and after we talked about it, we would really like to keep the boat lift on the same side, so that's what we're gonna try to do, so, and see, just see where it takes us.
okay. All right, while we're waiting for these things, anybody on the commission have any questions before we move forward in terms of accepting?
Could you, on your drawings, clarify by differentiating them somehow?
Yes.
Which are present things
Okay,
and which are the new things?
Most
Maybe one
definitely.
red, one blue, or
Okay.
something. Makes it a lot easier
Okay.
for us. And measurements.
okay, which they are, because I think that was the issue with the last meeting, there was no measurements, and that was what your concern was, there was no measurements. On these now, the surveyor came up and the measurements, they're all there, so.
Okay.
And again, I would like to stay without, trying not to get near my neighbor's boundaries. I mean, I'm, you know, just trying to. It's difficult, we're in a tight spot there.
Yes, you all are in a tight
Yeah,
spot.
we have to just be respectful of each other, so.
All right, while we're waiting, any other questions or concerns?
I've looked at it twice from the lake.
I know, it's hard,
It's,
I know.
it's tight in there.
It
It's-
is.
All right, it's not normal protocol, but one of your neighbors is here. Would you like to say something?
Lorraine DiMartino, I live next door to Maureen and John. I've been there 52 years. And, we're in a tight cove and have tried to make the best of it.
Thanks, John.
But when you have a very small piece of property and try to put 3 and 4 boats on it, it's just not gonna work. How would you position the wave runners, Maureen?
Lorraine?
If we were able to move the dock a little over, they would be to the west of.
They would be on Zimmerman's side?
Exactly, Lorraine,
They would be
yes.
on Zimmerman's side.
All right,
This be for the public
the
hearing?
public hearing will be next month.
Okay.
So I know you're here, and out of courtesy, I called on you. But if you really want to have an input,
Yeah, and I will speak to
From-
you, Lorraine, I'll
on the-
give you all the information.
Okay.
if you want to have an official input, please come back next month, because we will open up an official public hearing. And what you say is, it will be part of the minutes, but it'll be also part of the records. Okay?
Yep.
All right, is there a motion to accept this application with the changes that were just provided to us by the applicant?
I'll make a motion to accept IWWC 23-2-1. Marine Pisano, proposal 30 or 40-foot dock and boat lift.
Is there a second?
Second?
All right, there's a second. And is there a vote on a public hearing? And I think we essentially must have one because of the littoral boundary issue, but just a formality, we were all in favor of a public hearing?
Yes.
For informational purposes,
And I-
okay?
I'll be in touch with you
So,
to get my letters back out, so.
yeah, okay, so you know the procedure?
Yes, I
And
do.
you'll meet with Jeff or Shannon?
I know it, I'm only teasing.
All right, we'll see
I
you
might
next
be in one
month.
of those seats when this is all done.
Yeah, some openings.
Just for the record, who seconded the motion?
I second it.
Thanks,
Take a
Gary.
vote.
Is there a vote for the accepting of, and the public hearing?
Yes.
So it's unanimous, and it is unanimous with everybody voting.
Great, thanks so much.
Okay, thank you, have a good night.
Thank you.
Okay. Here. Next order of business is Kristen Prusy. The location is 215 West Wakefield Boulevard, and the proposal is to repair improvements to existing waterfront deck. For the record, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I am Kristen Brucey of 215 West Wakefield Boulevard.
Okay, and please talk to us about what you'd like to do.
So unfortunately, we did not go about this the right way and started to do repairs on our own without getting approval. this was probably about 3 years ago, so we've had a cease to desist, since then. And now we would like to move forward and try to repair what we had.
Okay, so talk to us about your repair.
So what it would consist of is a new fence, that is along the road. Basically not for privacy, I'm sorry, for safety, we have small children and we have animals, and it's right up against the road. So it'd be for safety issues for one, and then we also have where a railing was taken down, on our seawall, and again, for safety reasons, we'd like to put another railing up around the seawall that is already there. There's rocks below, which also could be very dangerous if anyone were to fall over. Another thing we would like to do is our previous deck had a little bit of an overhang in 2 different areas, which we would like to get those overhangs back because there was a gazebo at one point that we had there, a little screened-in gazebo. And then on the other side, we had a kind of like a shed area for the water toys, which we would like to also get back.
Okay, I'm looking at your application, and the first thing in the application is you're looking for composite decking where a prior deck overhung.
Correct.
So you have a seawall. You want to extend over the seawall with your deck?
Yes.
Above the water now?
Above the water. There's already, I guess, some pieces of wood where the overhang was before that are still there.
There's pieces of wood on the wall
On the
which
wall.
would support something.
Correct.
Okay. How far out over the water are you talking?
I'm thinking it was about 3 feet.
Again, you have to be more specific only because, we can't approve something unless we know what we're approving.
Okay.
So, and I'm looking at your map on your last page.
Uh-huh.
I would say at best it's difficult to understand.
Here's a picture here, if I may.
Please.
I'll see if I can get some measurements though. Excuse me.
I see it, okay.
You can keep that too if you'd like.
All right, for the record, she provided, Ms. Prusi provided a picture of a cantilevered deck being supported with 2x4s or 2x6s angled into the wall and resting on a beam going parallel to the lake bed, but above the water. There's no measurements associated with this, so,
Here's maybe something else that would help.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is what we have, I think,
Okay.
right?
I thought I, oh, yes.
Yeah,
maybe
without
that's
the
same
picture.
one. Okay.
Oh, this is, all right, and again, for the record, I was provided with a document which replicates the document in the application itself, but it's absent of 2 pictures which depict a deck, lounge chairs, apparently extending over the water. And the second picture, can you tell me what this is with the blue?
That is the previous decking.
Oh, so the 2 versions of the same decking.
Yes.
I got it. Okay,
There's maybe even another picture that shows kind of the overhangs. That's prior. Oh, thank you.
okay. Jeff, you mind?
Yeah, you want copies again?
Yeah, only because if we don't have copies now,
Yep.
we can't ask appropriate questions here.
Did you want the first? Yeah.
All right, in the interim, the fence that you're let's go back to what you're asking for in numerical order.
Yes.
Number 2 is replace the railing on the deck for safety reasons over the water. So at the end of the railing, you're asking for some kind of a fence.
Well, going down to the waterfront is where the main fence is that I'm asking to replace.
On the